do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. Best soccer show, backheel.com. Jason Davis, Jared DuBois live on a Sunday evening, the final evening of the first week of the MLS season 2015. Jared, how are you, man? We got soccer. What's going on?
I think my wife officially hates me. My whole family probably hates me at this point. It's been a long road. You see, there's no shaving going on. I can tell you that there's no shower going on over on this end. It's just an imprint on a couch for about 48 hours.
Yeah, you know what? It makes it even worse now. We've got the Friday night game. That's guaranteed. That's an Unimas game every week. So I wasn't around for the whole SAP debacle, but you can tell me if you got sucked into that at all.
I actually I DVR'd that game because I went to my local high school CIF final match for soccer instead.
Yeah,
so I don't know anything about it. I just know everyone was talking about it, so I don't really know what it consisted of.
I had a previous engagement, but the gist I get is that there's supposed to be an SAP second audio program option for English speakers watching Unimas that you should be able to switch over and get English language broadcasters
from Paul Caligiuri.
I believe Paul Caligiuri was on the team. I don't know who the other guy was. He was enthusiastic. That's all I'll say. But apparently a lot of people had trouble with it. Most of New York City had trouble with it. But whatever. It's a thing. It's out there. Hopefully they'll get it fixed. But you have a Friday night game. You obviously have a bunch of games on Saturday that are, generally speaking, available on MLS.
A letdown? Oh, sorry.
Well, they definitely were this week. And we'll get into a review of the games a little bit later in the show. But in terms of in terms of the new schedule of MLS, you got Saturday games always, of course. And now you got this Sunday slate, which today, I know it's opening weekend, and I don't think this is the way it is every weekend, but you had ESPN at 5 o'clock Eastern time with Orlando City, New York City FC, 65,000 people at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. Then you had Sporting and New York, which is going on right now as we speak. I believe it's still 1-1. Can you check over your shoulder?
Yeah,
out to 27 minutes to supposedly kick off for Seattle hosting the New England Revolution. By the way, no Lee Win in the lineup for the Revs. I'm not sure what that's all about. Yeah. We may have to dig and try to find out why that is. So in other words, 3 days from about Friday evening, pretty early for you, a pretty early start Friday evening until I don't know 11:30 Eastern time out here, so 6 or 8:30 your time. There's nonstop basically, and you can throw in some FA Cup if you watch some of that this weekend, or I don't know if you got streams for your Bundesliga and BN Sport for your La Liga. You could really just sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to that stuff overseas. So the early part of the day is where I actually try to save my family life. While all the European stuff's going on, that's why I try to act like I care. And
brunch? Are you like a brunch guy?
I literally wrote. This is how I bought the karma necessary to do what I've done this weekend. Saturday, there was a window where I had to let my wife know. Listen, we can ride bikes as a family up to the cupcake shop. I feel like, a wise way. Get some cupcakes for the kids. Have a nice little day of it. But I must be back by 2:00.
That is the sweetest thing I've ever heard. You are so domestic. That is unbelievable.
Actually, it was noon. I think. I don't think it was 2:12.
You all rode your bike. So wait, so you got the two little ones. They both
but by that I mean I'm a pack mule for the 1.5-year-old that has to be carted in a trailer behind my bike. That's what I really mean.
I got to get pictures. Somebody, please tell me there's somebody that listens to this show that lives nearby, Jared DuBois, and you get me pictures of him pulling the stroller bike.
You get pictures of my quadriceps about to burst.
So that's what you did to buy your camera. I'd be interested to hear what the rest of our listeners did to buy themselves some karma with their significant.
I think there's a lot of really early morning lawn care going on. Maybe you made a mimosa for your lady to wake up to. That guy gets you maybe one game. What do you get 5 games?
Yeah. How do you buy enough credit to sit there on a Sunday night and forget Saturday, forget Friday night? How do you get enough credit to watch, what is that? 6.5 hours of nonstop soccer, essentially. How do you build up enough credit to do that?
In my case, you marry well and make a consistent effort to lower expectations over a number of years.
Now, I hope some of you have managed to convince your significant others, be they male or female, to buy into whatever team you're interested in. And if you're just an MLS file like I am, maybe you're in my situation, which we won't go into. Although I do have other responsibilities these days, so it's not just I'm not just on a free roll. We have the phone lines open tonight, 347-756-6276. Hopefully you've all made that adjustment and changed it up. It's 347-756-6276. That is the across the board backheel.com number these days. We'll just go with that, right?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, we had a few other ones, but that one seems to be one that's technically working most of the time. So we'll go with that. So yeah, watch your hot takes on the weekend. What you liked, what you didn't like, your personal team, how they did. Are you happy with your team's first showing of the weekend? How you bought some karma, to get away from the wife, kids, or husband, depending on your sexualness. Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, look, it could be a woman who's getting credit from her husband who wants her to do some stuff. There could be a man trying to get credit from his man. Stuff. It could be a man trying to get credit from his woman. It doesn't matter. Whatever combination.
And I would be very interested to hear what is the social currency in relationships not like mine in different sexual orientations. Like if you have a husband, what's the like virtual currency that you spend versus me on my wife?
It's a good question. This could take a dangerous turn. This could take a shock jock turn, and I don't want to go down that road. That's man's.
Well, I say, like for my wife, a mimosa goes a long way. Maybe you get it's a nice porter stout, and then you're sharing it because that's what you like too.
Yeah, a bottle of nice scotch that you enjoy. It could be anything. Yeah. All right, we're gonna review the MLS schedule, and part of this, Jared, which you kind of admitted on Saturday, especially 1-0, 0-0. You did have Toronto throwing 3 goals in on Vancouver and Vancouver getting 1, so 4 goals in that game. Columbus and Houston 1 goal to decide that game. Dallas and San Jose 1 goal to decide that game. A scoreless draw in Portland and RSL to close out the night. It hasn't been a fantastic and 1-1 now for Sporting in New York as well, and Orlando and New York City was 1-1 as well. It just hasn't been a scoring type of weekend.
But this is what I tell myself, like the same type of thing like with opening round of the World Cup. I always go back and tell myself, listen, everyone is on edge. Everyone's hyped up. No one wants to go out and put a bad foot forward on the first game of the season. So I kind of get it. Well, I kind of get it.
It's also, look, I think that may be true. And I also think, especially in Orlando, with that New York City FC and Orlando game, we'll get to that in a little bit. I also think it's a matter of, look, you can play as many preseason matches as you want. You can even go up against other MLS teams in the preseason, Jared. It does not replicate actual regular season 3 points on the line soccer. Now, people make fun of the MLS regular season for not counting all the time. It doesn't matter enough, blah, blah, blah. That's true, but it's still a step above preseason soccer. So when you step on that field for the first time and it counts, yeah, you're not exactly unrusty, are you?
No, I think unless I think some of the guys maybe they had the cupcake window, something like that, where they had a really high intensity kind of lead up to the preseason. To the preseason. Maybe a guy like Mystic Scrooge who's coming off a European season. I mean, obviously he scores today, so maybe that is something. There's something to be said for that, but. A few of these other guys, though, I think you have to really limit expectations in week 1. You just wanted there to be a couple more, I think, gems coming out of the weekend. I think the best game coming out of the weekend was that Toronto and Vancouver game. Maybe the only really good way to be entertaining one, to be honest with you. I think started off in a rough place Friday night with Chicago really playing some poor ball in Friday night. And listen, Galaxy probably should have won by way more than this, and they should have really done more to put Chicago in its place for the type of ball they played. But I will say that I think LA looked decent. Maybe one of the top 3 to 4 teams out of the weekend so far that I've seen. But the Toronto-Vancouver match really is the one. I think that's the only gem so far of the weekend.
That game was interesting, obviously, because of the arrival of Josie Altidore back in MLS, Sebastian Giovinco in the starting lineup, obviously, Michael Bradley, trying to be the general in the middle of the field for them. A couple of other changes, Robbie Finley getting the start. I was a little surprised to see Robbie Finley.
Yeah, but I guess I didn't know what else are they going to do, But I was really more surprised when he looks off Giovinco and Josie Altidore and takes a shot from 25 yards out instead of relying on way more money than you to get a better look.
Yeah, well, forget that for a second, because he did get a goal. I mean, give Robbie some credit there. But it took all of, 35 minutes for Josie Altidore to get back into MLS and start scoring goals again. And it was a well taken. I mean, it was a good finish. It wasn't one of those tap goals. It wasn't as though all of the work was done by somebody else and all he had to do was stand there. Now, he did get a fantastic ball. That was Giovinco on the ball, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, a fantastic through ball from Giovinco to set him up. And then Josie rounds the keeper with an excellent touch. We don't always put it out there that Josie Altidore has a good first touch. He doesn't always have a good first touch, but that one was perfect. Set him up perfectly, scores the goal. Vancouver looks fun. We know they're going to give up.
Very fun. I mean, I don't know where they're going to be at the end of the season, but all I know is that I want to watch them along the way. That's the only thing I know for a fact is that every week right now, the only team I know I'm going to try to tune in for, at least early on, is Vancouver because anything can happen in that game. I mean, a guy might score on a bicycle. A guy might miss a shot from a foot away, like what happened in the first couple minutes of that game. I mean, I don't know how Rivero missed that shot, but I mean that's tough. But they play such a open, free-flowing, attack-minded game.
How much? This, by the way, I this came up with Jeff Crandall on Twitter. I don't know if you know Jeff. He used to be with the Fire. Now I think he's sort of a floating guy. He was talking about guys with first names on their backs in MLS. Kaká is obviously a Brazilian. We know Brazilians get their first names. Mix is the reason he brought it up. He also brought up Kobe Jones back in the day with the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
I don't know if it's a trend or what, but Kakuta Mane is wearing Kakuta on the back of his shirt, and I love it. I want a Kakuta shirt now. I don't know.
All I know is that if you want to do it, you should be able to. Okay, but here's the thing. This is how I feel about white cleats in the 90s.
Okay? All right, go ahead.
White cleats in the 90s. You couldn't rock white cleats in the 90s unless you could back it up. Okay? Everyone's going to clown you if you had white shoes on. So if you're going to rock single name, first name on your back of your jersey, you're opening yourself up for criticism from all these other players if you don't back it up.
There are rules as well. You can't you have to have either a unique first name or a good nickname a la Mix. Because you're not putting Jason on the back of somebody's jersey. I would love.
Yeah. It's not. Neither of our names are sexy enough to go on the back of a jersey.
Jared on somebody's jersey.
No, I put J Rodius.
Yeah, but see that's the thing. I don't have a decent.
You're unnicknameable. I know.
I am Daniel in Atlanta. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? What's going?
We're excited for MLS, Daniel.
Oh, I'm excited that LA beat Chicago.
Yeah, but apparently it wasn't the kind of dominant performance you necessarily want out of your boys, and Chicago was bad.
Yeah, Chicago was horrible, man. They weren't bad. They were horrible, dude. What was it? Like 20% of the time they were in Chicago's own defense. So LA dominated.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Now, and you'll have to tell me this, Daniel. And I'll get to Jared because he's obviously a Galaxy guy as well. But I think for everybody, the question is: you take Landon Donovan out of that lineup. Now you got Jose Villarreal's, I guess, a part of this thing now. I mean, I'm a little surprised by that. How do you replace? Maybe not. You can't replace with one player what Landon Donovan did, but you got to find some way to cover for the things that he did as a whole. Daniel,
all right, let me say this: there is no playmaker, and there will be no playmaker like Landon was. Landon was the playmaker. I don't know.
You don't know. All right, Daniel.
Listen, I think you saw what Bruce Arenas kind of answers to this in general. Obviously, Jose Villarreal, and we can't talk about Landon Donovan and what's going to be the solution there without talking about the fact you also lost Marcelo Sarvas in this midfield.
Yes.
So he brings in Kenny Walker, who I'm a big fan of. I mean, we talked about it last season. I think he's an up-and-coming young kid, just does the unsexy smart thing over and over and over again. But the problem is, he does the unsexy smart thing.
Right. Are you surprised? I had Kyle McCarthy on the show on Friday morning, on Soccer Morning, when I was doing my Cavalcade of Stars, or maybe it was the other day. I can't remember when it was. And he suggested that Baggio Husidic, it was Thursday. Baggio Husidic may be the guy there.
I thought going into the season, I would have bet Baggio Husidic would be the guy there. And I think I've seen a number of people put statistics out there in terms of chance creation that Baggio should be the guy there based on the minutes he was on the field versus the minutes Kenny Walker was on the field. Now, I think what you saw in this game is maybe Bruce Arena going a little bit cautious with the first game of the season, putting the more defensive-minded player of the two in there, and putting Jose Villarreal. By putting Jose Villarreal in, he's able to do some things for you offensively, but I think he's suspect on the defensive side. So I think the Kyle Walker decision may have been fueled more by the fact that you're going to play Villarreal out wide on the left. That way, someone to cover, someone to pick up some of the defensive work rate. And then later on the game, Brazil Sidic came in. I think you saw a better Galaxy team offensively and flow. But the short answer to the Landon Donovan thing is there is no answer until Steven Gerrard gets here.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to ask you about another element of the LA lineup a little bit later. 401, you're on the air.
Hello, Jason.
Hey, who's this?
What about Jared?
Hey, Evan. I have a partner on this show. It's Jared DuBois. He's over there. You want to say hi?
What's up, dude?
Hello, Jared.
What's going on, Evan?
I was wondering, do you watch any other leagues other than MLS during the day?
Sure,
Jason.
sometimes. I watch England mostly. Just because it's on my TV, it's easy to get to.
Okay. Second question, what are your expectations for the Sounders this year?
I've got them winning MLS Cup. They are my official pick.
I would say that on the Sounders side, I think they'll come out of the West, maybe as the Supporters Shield winners and even the MLS Cup finalists. But I'm going to take that back. I think they'll come out of the West, be MLS Cup finalists, and maybe even win the whole thing. But I don't think they'll get the Shield. I think the Shield's going to go to Eastern Conference team this year because of the war of attrition that's going to go on in the West. I think you're looking at Columbus Crew or New England Revolution sweep in, maybe even a dark horse Toronto come in and win the Supporters Shield in the East.
I've got New England winning the Supporters Shield, so I'm with Jared on that one. Anything else, man?
That's it.
All right. There goes Evan, who was...
He didn't care if I would listen to watch other leagues on the weekend. Just Jason.
He was really excited.
I felt like I was on a Jason Davis AMA there for a second.
Yeah, MLS.
Hey, Jason, boxers or briefs?
Oh man, boxer briefs, of course. How can you go wrong with
Commando, dude. Commando's the only way to go.
Okay, last thing on LA, and we're not really focusing on Chicago, and maybe that's for the best considering how bad they reportedly were. But the thing I got to ask you is Todd Donovan is he just going to be a bench guy for the rest of his career? I mean, is he done?
I don't know if he's a consistent starter when you have a Robbie Rogers in your lineup. You have AJ De La Garza, who, by the way, wasn't even on the starting lineup in this one. I think that's more because he's come back from injury, though. They have 4 starting fullbacks. Well, at least 3. You can argue whether or not you think Todd Donovan still is a starting fullback in this league. I don't think he's got enough minutes over the last year to really make that decision or not. But I think that at this point, it's Robbie Rogers' job to lose. It's probably even AJ De La Garza after that, depending on where Dan Gargan's situation is on the right. Yeah. Todd Donovan's second to third choice fullback for the Galaxy right now, and I'm not sure if they can afford to pay him that much, or if they renegotiated that salary in the offseason or not. But he's a good player. I mean, in spurts, but at some point, this may be the last final season for Todd Donovan, I think.
Okay, it's probably very possible. By the way, apparently my New England Revolution Supporter Shield pick is going to get off to a fantastic start, because they have neither Lee Nguyen nor Jermaine Jones. Obviously, he's coming back from injury. So that's going to hurt them in Seattle. We'll see how that plays out. We'll get to
go back to a topic off the top of the show. Just a few people weighing in on how they bought in karma for the weekend. This one from James S. Thorpe. He says, laid on the couch and watched while your wife did master's homework. Probably isn't what you're looking for, but that's me.
Inappropriate.
MLS Chicano says, luckily for me, my girlfriend works Saturdays and Sundays, so that's all right. James R. Riley says, breakfast I made pancakes, fish tacos for lunch, and roast chicken for dinner. No complaints. So feed your woman, I guess, is what I'm learning from that one.
Food will get you many places with many people. 203, you're on the air.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Jared. It's Roberto.
What's up, Roberto?
What up?
Nothing much. I just have 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Sure. Shoot.
What did you think of today's game between Orlando and New York City FC?
It's definitely on the list of things to talk about. We don't have to go chronologically here. Let's go ahead and skip to the big one, Jared. And not only the big one, because it's the biggest crowd that we're going to see this weekend.
Ooh. Are they not going to do over 60 in Seattle tonight?
I didn't think so. Maybe they are. Okay.
They do 69, I think, is their cap for those, I think.
Okay, whatever.
63.
They did 65,000. Only Seattle can mess with that, okay? So whatever. They did a gigantic crowd in Orlando for that opener. New York City FC coming in with their first game as well. And I think that the fact that it was 2 expansion teams, Roberto, made for a pretty ugly soccer at various points in that game. Like I don't think it was an advertisement for MLS. And apparently that was like the very first game Sky was showing over in England. So I was getting some of that popping up in my feed about the quality of MLS. Whatever.
So if people in England right now are wondering, why is David Villa trying to flap his wings so hard he can fly?
Well, here's the things that stood out. New York has got to figure out the way to get the ball to David Villa because they didn't, and he was starved, and it was bad. And obviously, you got a nice goal from Mix Diskerud to open it up. They did not. Yeah. When we talk about soccer, we talk about deserving a lead or deserving a win. New York City did not deserve anything out of that game. But when you have players like Diskerud, you maybe have a shot at it. And give Orlando credit for fighting back. I mean, they needed to. It wasn't a nice goal. It wasn't a great goal. It was a deflection off of Jabrovski, who apparently forgot how to make a wall. But
and how to use a razor.
Yeah, well, that too, and yeah, apparently he thinks he's in a Shogun
Swashbuckling movie. Oh, Shogun. Yeah, there you go.
Roberto, what did you make of it?
No, I thought it was great. I thought it was a good debut match for both sides. Obviously, for Kaká and David Villa, they obviously
Kaká was great.
Players that
Kaká was fantastic. He was all over the place.
Yeah, they were.
He looked healthy.
Obviously, I think they showed that that both clubs what they bought they were. It was expected. It was expected to see what they were.
Yeah, a couple of other things,
and they did that.
Roberto, I'm sure this is something that I think everybody notices. That the energy there was insane.
Yeah,
and it was pushing the match.
Absolutely.
That's another element that you can't really account for. New team, expansion franchises, both sides, all that enthusiasm, all that excitement. Even if we've got some pretty grizzled professionals, and certainly most of those guys are. You get into an environment with that kind of energy, and things kind of just go wonky, and maybe you're not making passes exactly the way you would in a more calm environment, or at least in an environment you're used to. So they came out all fired up, and the energy was off the charts.
Well, let me ask you this: what did you think of Alan Kelly's decision today?
I had no problem with any of the dive calls. A lot of people were complaining about them. I didn't have any problem with them.
Listen, I'm kind of stoked. I mean, that's one of the hardest line stances I've seen a ref make on that in MLS, and I don't really see any evidence that he really missed any of them, to be honest with you. And so if that's what he sees, I didn't see enough to really make a call either way in some of them. So, but that's what his impression was. That means even in instant replay, I as an observer can't tell for sure. I have no problem with the calls he made in real time.
Yeah, who was the guy who got the last one? Was it Rivas who got the last yellow card?
I don't remember. I three guys. I don't remember who all of them were.
Yeah, that was Brovsky on the tackle. Obviously, Brovsky had a rough day, but that was Brovsky on the tackle, and I thought he dragged his leg to create the contact and to go down. I mean, I'm not saying that Brovsky's tackle was good, but I understand why the card came out. And if we're going to go to the red with Colin, there's no question about that. It's 100% red card every single time.
Yeah, I mean, he deserved that 100%. And while we're talking about Orlando, just a couple of things, observations from my point of view. First of all, Kaká is the type of DP I can tell already that is the right one to sign for this league. Constantly encouraging, constantly just working his butt off, for every guy on the field. The thing you already knew about Kaká anyway. He's a guy who's going to try to be godly, while the other guy on the other side of the field wants to have a god complex. Well, I just think he's whatever his religious background is, and then that maybe it contributes to who he is. I think Kaká's just a fun-loving guy. I just think he's a nice guy, and you can't account for that. And especially when you sign up a DP and you're going to pay that guy millions of dollars, and he's going to change. He's going to trade AC Milan for Orlando. In the case of David, he's the type of guy that sees a dog wandering the streets and picks it up.
Well, I mean, I think
he's that nice of a person.
I think it matters. I mean, look, he was engaged. He obviously plays a much different position than Villa does. He's playing behind the striker. He's drifting into space. He's picking the ball up a lot, 40 yards.
Which is why things worked better for Orlando, because he saw the ball more than Villa did.
Yeah, of course. And Villa's going to be isolated. He's got to play up top. You want him close to goal. You don't want him dropping back 40 yards from goal. That's a waste of his talents. But that's going to create a frustration. We used to see it with Thierry Henry when he was playing up top for the Red Bulls before he became the playmaker extraordinaire that he did. He'd get frustrated with his teammates. Where I want the ball here, and they weren't getting it to him. And I don't know how long I don't know if Villa's that kind of guy necessarily to start complaining every single time. But you wonder if he's going to get frustrated and if that's going to slow them down.
I think they got to get more out of Ned Grabavoy. He's the veteran on this team of MLS. I didn't think they got enough out of him today. Granted, Ned Grabavoy is not going to be the guy is a game changer on your team, but between him and Diskerud, they have to control that middle more. I didn't think they had nearly the right stranglehold on midfield as they should have in this game. And granted, they're playing away. I get that too. And maybe I'm expecting too much too early in the season. But speaking of guys that kind of stepped up early in this game and really made a mark on it, I thought Breck Shea looked fantastic for Orlando today.
He looked good. He did. He looked good. You have to wonder about him getting caught upfield, and New York was not taking advantage of the space he was leaving. They played Lewis Neal ahead of him to give.
That's a smart play. Smart play.
There were a lot of things in the game. I mean, we could do an entire show just on this game because I did watch it because it was so exciting. Josh Saunders should not have been in that game after he hit his head on the post. I'm sorry. I don't have any. I'm not going to mince any words about that. He should not have been in that game.
I thought you see the trainer doing a bit of a test with him, though. So I think you want to trust the trainer, too, though. I mean, you saw him doing some testing on him.
You can't do it in 2 minutes. I'm sorry, you can't. And actually, I saw a pretty good suggestion from, and this is never going to happen in MLS as long as FIFA won't sign off on it. But I saw from a guy I know up in Philly who said, allow a substitution right then after he hits his head on the post. Allow a 7-minute substitution. So he comes off for 7 minutes, which is the time it supposedly it takes to do the proper test on a concussion, on a possible concussion. Then, if you decide he doesn't have a concussion, he goes back in, and that does not count as a substitution.
I'd be okay with that.
But if he stays out because he's got the concussion or whatever, then it's permanent because you obviously had to take
just
him
like
out.
Any other injury that you would have on the field.
Just like any other injury. So there
listen, the side effects are that serious that I think something like that could absolutely be warranted, instituted without having much of an impact on the game, style of game, flow of play, anything like that. I think it's a fantastic suggestion.
Roberto, got anything else, man?
Yeah, just one last question for both of you guys. Expectations for New York Red Bull this season?
I have no idea. I really have no idea. I want to say, I don't know, 5th in the East, 6th in the East. I mean, they're going to be, I think that's where they're going to be. Because my problem with is that I don't know who they are as a team without Thierry Henry. Yeah.
I don't know what their style is.
Or Mike Petke for that matter. He's exactly right, Jared. I mean, we don't know what the character is going to be. You've got Felipe in there. That's great. You got Clutch in there. That's great. It's going to take them a while to gel too. Bradley Wright Phillips is a guy who's got you got to get him service. He got a lot of service from Thierry Henry last year. Is he going to get that from these guys now? Lloyd Sam scored today. That's great. He's going to have to push them. Lloyd Sam's going to.
They've got a load of talent, Jason. They got a load of talent in that midfield with Dax McCarty as their new captains, putting a lot of work in behind these guys. Sasha Kljestan, it has to be his team, though. I just think it has to be his team. He's going to have to be the guy that pushes and organizes this. And I didn't see enough in the middle of the field from Kljestan today to really think of that. I think it's going to be how often can Lloyd Sam beat a guy?
You buying their back line? Because that's a question too.
No, I'm not. I mean, as long as they're gonna have Roy Miller, I don't buy it at all. But I just don't know. It's gonna be question marks all over the field for them. I think they'll be struggling and be a bubble team to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I gotta let you go, Roberto. But I think it's gonna be interesting because you consider the teams that are ahead, that are definitely ahead of the Red Bulls, at least in our perceptions ahead of the season. I would say New England, Columbus, DC United, who's got stability, if nothing else, even if they're not a super sexy team. See, that's 3 right there. Who am I missing? I'm definitely missing.
Did you mention Toronto?
No, Toronto. If you want to put Toronto ahead of New York, I think that's probably fair based on talent, but clearly we need to see Toronto over multiple weeks and months in order to really get a grasp on how good they're going to be. So yeah, it's going to be a fight for the Red Bulls. But I mean,
here's a better question: who finishes higher, New York City FC or New York Red Bulls?
Red Bulls, I think. I didn't see enough from New York City FC today to indicate that it's not going to take them 2 months to get up to full.
I'm going to say one thing, and that's the only weird thing I'm going to say on it. I trust Jason Kreis, so I'm going to go with NYCFC.
I do. I trust Jason Kreis immensely, but I don't know. What I saw today didn't indicate to me that they're going to be ready for it. I did like Kyrie
Except for the fact he didn't put my man McNamara anywhere on the team sheet today.
Yeah, well, there's that. I do like Kyrie Shelton up top. The rookie came in, made a big difference for them. Kind of turned the game around, helped create some chances. They actually missed 2 golden chances before Discord scored.
You know what? One team you didn't mention, and we can kind of go into this match from this point is Montreal. And there's probably a reason why we're not thinking about Montreal as a playoff contender anymore, and that's because of the huge loss of Justin Mapp. I mean, it hasn't been announced yet, but I'm sure he's going to be out for a good portion of the season with what would look like a very nasty broken arm.
Danger zone!
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that.
Well, for Montreal, that's their season right? Isn't that their season?
It might be. I mean, he is crucial. They don't have a lot of game-changing kind of guys.
Yeah.
And you can get by. Here's the thing. Okay, let's compare them to DC United 2014. DC United didn't have a ton of game-changing players. They had solid professionals, Davy Arnaud, Perry Kitchen is very solid as a defensive mid. They obviously had a good defense with Boswell and the emergence of Birnbaum, Sean Franklin. But what the guy, and they went through a lull when he was out. They found other ways to win. But the guy who made them go, who really got them to where they were going to be a first-place team, was Fabian Espindola, because he could change the game by himself. Yeah. And I don't know that Montreal has a player like that without Justin Mapp on the field. I think I missed a phone call. Keep them coming. 347-756-6276. And I think I just had an idea. And part of this is because we don't have a lot of time. We only do an hour show. And there is a lot of games. Now with a lot of teams in this league now, Jared. It's going to only get worse as expansion is 45 days away, apparently, according to Don Garber. If a game is goalless, I vote we don't talk about it or mention it at all.
Unless something dramatic happens, like a red card, injury, something like that. Sure. So that's going to be the best soccer show punishment. Like, we're not going to give your team pub or even acknowledge their existence.
I don't want any complaining from the people out there who support the teams that play goalless games. If you lose by a goal, we're probably going to at least mention you in passing, as Jared did with Montreal.
Which means then I can't talk about how much I liked the look of Darlington Nagbe last night. It means I can't talk about how good the atmosphere was up there. I can't tell you any of that.
You know what? It's your show. It's my show. We can make command decisions. I'm just saying that if we don't mention that game, no one can complain. You're allowed to mention it.
Like how much I want to nuzzle up in Nat Borcher's neck.
It's getting scary over there, by the way.
It's getting real.
It is getting real. They were obviously very good at the back. They kept RSL just mouse quiet last night. I didn't see a lot from.
That is the defense Portland needed last year. Because remember, going into last season, every one of us picking Portland's going to be the team. Portland's got a good team. They finished the 2013 season with so much momentum behind them, and then their defense was horrible last year. And I mean, Ridgewell and Borchers, that's a fantastic pairing. That may be one of the best pairings over the course of the season. We can look back at it later, but I think they really, and this is without Will Johnson, without Diego Chara. The guys are supposed to be holding the midfield together for you. I mean, that's kind of scary if you think they can have that kind of control on a team like RSL. Now, granted, RSL isn't the team they probably were 2 years ago, but still, a lot of good components there, and they locked it down.
Yeah, I'm kind of back and forth on RSL. I have them in the playoffs this year. My preseason predictions, because they're always there.
Everyone's going to be in the playoffs.
But you have to think that this might be the year RSL takes a pretty dramatic step back because of some of the changes, especially in the leadership of that team, Grabavoy and Wingert, because it seems like they're messing with their shape, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But when you do that and you have Jeff Cassar in his second year, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Hamas Nalave is quite the player he used to be, although he had a very good night last night as well. There are some things that they may crop up for them. They obviously need to get Plata back, and they're going to have to find goals. Almost Garcia has got to turn into what he's supposed to be if they're going to be good.
I'll say a different way. Luis Gil needs to turn into what he's supposed to be. I think that's one of the guys. If he can't finally live up to potential, I don't know if RSL has as much of a future in the immediate as they would if Luis Gil could get on point.
Yeah, lots of 1-0 games this weekend. DC United beating Montreal 1-0. As you said, the takeaway there, Justin Mapp's injury, a good win for DC at home to start their campaign. I think they hadn't won at home they hadn't won their home opener since 2011. So there's that for DC. Houston beats Columbus 1-0, and I had made Columbus sort of my the popular pick, the under the radar pick, I guess. I mean,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
On Friday's show, and then when they lost to Houston, I got some stick from some Houston fans. Now, my understanding
this is a Columbus Crew team didn't have Justin Miram. That's a huge piece missing for them. I mean, I don't know how crazy you go with this. They did have a lot of their right players though. They had Chani was in there, Trapp was in there, Higuain, Finley, Kamara. They had the team to beat Houston. They really, really did. And I think it is a little bit of a shock they didn't do better. But I still think Justin Miram's a big part of that puzzle wasn't there. But listen, give it up to Houston. Tyler Derrick was the man. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't hold that against Columbus too much when the keeper and the other team is just going to stand up like that. Yeah,
no, you sometimes get those performances and you can't account for them. And I think Columbus is still going to be a good team. We don't know what to make of Houston yet. And as they are in the West now, that's going to make it more difficult for them to make the playoffs again. To get back to the playoffs under Owen Coyle. Dallas and San Jose 1-0. Blas Perez with the goal. Of course, it's Blas Perez with the goal to beat the
dirty late goal. The dirty late goal. Like the accident. I don't know. I don't want to say accidental, but the little like glancing off the head kind of thing. How much did he really know about that?
I'm with you mostly because it was a shot. It's 100% a shot. But he's Blas Perez. It's what he does. Like that's his reason for living is to put his head in the way of balls. That's what he does. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's I think I just did a. I just did that. Didn't really.
Wait, why's it gonna be Jay Rodius? That should be inappropriate. That shouldn't be Jay Rodius.
Yeah, you're right. I should just.
Damn, dog. That's inappropriate.
You're right. I should have used that one instead.
Tear me down with
Dallas is another one of those teams that looks to be on the up, and you expect them to be pretty good. Mauro Diaz is healthy. You got Fabian Castillo. You got Matt Hedges in the back holding things down. You got Kellen Acosta getting better every game that he plays as a professional, and then you got Blas Perez pulling stuff out of Blas Perez and the horns and the whole thing. But it's early season. I don't know what to make of San Jose. I have no idea what San Jose is going to look like.
Here's what I'm going to say this too. Like, how are you not going to play Tommy Thompson? How are you not going to play Tommy Thompson? You're telling me that Sana Niasi is a better option than Tommy Thompson?
You know what? I don't think that we even considered this. And I'm not saying that any of the guys that Tommy Thompson played under before in San Jose were better for this necessarily. But is Dom Kinnear really the kind of guy that's going to turn to a 19-year-old and play him and give him time? Like, is that call. I don't know that.
I guess Stuart Holden already gone through college by the time he got there and worked under him. I can't really think of many young guys that got shots.
Yeah, I don't
important parts of the field under Dom Kinnear.
I can't remember a guy who was 19 or 20 or 21 years old who was really a big key for the Houston Dynamo under Dom. I just can't. If I'm missing anybody, throw it at us on Twitter at Best Soccer Show. I'll be more than happy to mention. I hope it's not the case. I want Tommy Thompson.
He is kind of he's a very limited expectations kind of person. Like, I mean, he wants to. He's Dom Dwyer. I mean, Dom Kinnear. He's Dom Kinnear. He always takes the safe road to success, and it's worked for him in his career. Is Tommy Thompson the safe road? Probably not, but damn, he's the sexy one.
He's absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. I hope he gets some time. I hope he does. What else am I looking at here? I don't think I've missed anything that we should talk about.
One thing about San Jose real quick. I think San Jose, I'm going to put some money behind San Jose this year. Not just because Dom Kinnear's there yet now, but I think most teams get that new stadium bump. And I think San Jose is going to get a little bit of that this year. Once they finally get in there and get some games played, I think San Jose could have a lot of positivity behind it this year. If you think about the coaching change, the stadium, I'm going to pick San Jose, even though in a very compact West. I'm going to say San Jose finishes in the 4-5 range.
Wow, interesting. All right, by the way, they're underway in Seattle, New England Revolution, Seattle Sounders live. It's CenturyLink. I can't remember anymore. CenturyLink Field in front of 1,000 people. I don't know.
Did I tell you I'm going to go to Seattle and see a game?
Yeah, I think I saw you tweeting about that. So
I'm going to see what that's all about. Here's the thing. Now, someone from Seattle needs to let me know. I'm going to have a 5-year-old with me. Do I take him and do like the march to the match thing, or do I leave him with grandma for the night and go out? Like, what is the march to the match and all that kind of pregame stuff? Are there bars and or restaurants I can go to with a 5-year-old and still have fun?
It's a good question. All right, so give your thoughts on that particular conundrum to family man Jared DuBois riding his bike to the the cupcake shop or whatever that was.
Come on, California, we do cupcakes, not ice cream.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was such a California thing. All right.
Well, it's what's trendy. That's why we do what's trendy. Actually, technically, right now, the trend is either mini pies or, let's see, what's the other trend? For a while, it was macaroons, and those are kind of out the door now. Yeah, dude, California's all about like these weird little trend kind of dessert things.
I gotta get some sound drops from the Californians on SNL to play every time you do stuff like this. 100%. Come on, macaroons are out. Are you serious?
They were in for a while. I'm telling you, man. They're macaroon shops.
You guys have kale chips in your house right now? Is that
no? I don't do that kind of stuff, dude. I don't do that. I do. My neighbor probably does. I just don't do them here.
All right. We got the MLS season underway, and we've got all these games to talk about, and I'd love that. 347-756-6276 if you want to jump in. But one thing we haven't had a chance to cover because we've all moved past it is the MLS CBA, Jared. This is done. The players have signed a deal. They have come to the conclusion that striking wasn't going to get them any better of an offer than they got. And I think I should just put it to you. Well, let me outline the details as I know them before I ask you this question. So there is a form of free agency. It requires a player to be 28 years old and have at least 8 years of MLS service. There are caps. There are caps on the raises a player changing teams can get. A player over $200,000 can only make, I can't remember what the numbers are. It doesn't really matter. It's 10%, 15% in that range is the most you can make over your previous contract if you are eligible for the 28 and 8 free agency. There is $60,000 minimum salary now. Now, I'm not positive that applies to the lowest level of players. What are those players called? They're like developmental players.
Developmental, yeah. Those that's usually the name put with them.
Yeah. So I don't know if that applies to the players that were making 48 before or the players who were making 34 before. But hopefully it's lowest end because I would love for that to come all the way.
Let me ask you this then, and maybe you don't know the answers, but let's get it out there. So take Chris Wondolowski, for example, a guy that was making not very much money, explodes on the scene over a couple of years, about 2 to 3 years, then gets himself the nice DP contract. Does that mean he can't go over a 15% increase in his salary when he explodes like that and wants to go up a level?
Right.
That is criminal.
Well, no, but it obviously is good business for San Jose to re-sign him to a DP contract. It's not about. Again, this is the problem that the players don't have movement, so he couldn't move teams and get that big contract, but he can't stay in San Jose and get the big
contract.
Right.
That's kind of wow. That's rough. That's a rough one right there.
Before I get to Robert in LA, let me put it to you quite bluntly: is this a win for the players?
It's a long-term win for the players that the door is open to free agency.
Robert in LA, what's up?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's good.
Well,
Tonight, there's MLS on behind Jared right there over his shoulder. What's going on, man?
Hey, yeah, it's great. It's good to have the season start. It was kind of scary there for a moment, but our nightmare's over. I wanted to talk about two things. I was just watching the KC game where Matt Beasley got sent off, and then it reminded me of that commercial. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he stars in an underwear commercial. Have you guys seen it?
I don't think I've seen this.
You haven't seen it, Jason? Oh, it's basically him. He's basically selling underwear, and I think it's called like MeUndies or something like that. I don't know what it's called. It's like underoos for men. I don't know. But there's about 4 women with, I would just say, God-given assets in front of in very tight booty underwear, and that's the wall in front of him and they're swaying back and forth like there's a nice breeze.
All right, continue.
And then he goes up and takes a shot, like as if Matt Beasler's ever taken a free kick.
Yeah, right.
And he's in his underwear too, by the way.
What about this commercial, Robert?
No, I was just gonna say it kind of looks like a commercial that Jared would direct.
Oh, wow! I mean, just. I mean, he might own it, but I'm just saying, wow, that's.
If I was directing a commercial, it'd be like Arian Collin or someone like, I don't know, but Matt Beasler. Would you find like sexy for underwear?
He wouldn't be your first choice. Is that what you're trying to say?
I just think you'd rather have Arian Collin in a banana hammock, something Frenchified,
Hey, hold on, I'm watching this right now. You go ahead and Phil. I'm going to watch this commercial right now.
Oh, I'm guarantee you, there's going to be portions of this commercial you're going to very much enjoy. Let's just say it's the best well-constructed wall I've ever seen.
Okay, all right.
But here's the thing. And then Matt Beasler's, I ain't mad at you for rocking the boxer briefs. Listen, he looks good in them. He looks good. But polka dots? Who's rocking polka dot underwear?
You know what? Maybe that's one of those things. Wow, those are polka dot. It's one of those things where when your lady finds out you're wearing polka dots, it's like, ooh, that's there's an added element of excitement there.
No, there's no woman on earth that's getting excited when they undo a man's zipper and see polka dots.
You don't think so?
No, why would you? What is this? The 70s? What, Paisley's next? What we? No, they just want to see a classic black boxer brief.
What the hell is this commercial?
I'm telling you, right?
You know what? Of all players, and you said something about if you directed it might be somebody else. I'm guessing that's because I don't know. Whatever.
When I think of like tight bootied men ready to sell underwear, Matt Beasler is way down. He's not a bad looking man, but it's just not what I consider like the guy.
I think it's more about that. Matt Beasler has, and I'm sorry if I'm putting this on him unfairly. He's got kind of a goody two shoes kind of profile, doesn't he? Like,
he's the Richie Cunningham of MLS.
That's perfect. It's 100% right. He is the Richie Cunningham.
I want the Fonz in the underwear, not Richie Cunningham.
Robert, you got anything else, man?
Yeah, one more thing, guys. It was actually with LA Galaxy's game. So it was on Univision, and I was expecting like more from them. I was expecting them to have their things together. And I don't know if you had this problem, but the English translation, the SAP didn't work.
Yeah, we were talking about that. We talked about it. We talked about it at the top of the show. Both Jared and I did not partake in that game live, so we didn't actually see. We didn't actually have those problems ourselves.
Listen, I think it's a great feature, though.
Sure.
Because I think it's great to be able to watch the game in the language of your choice, any game. That's a fantastic thing. And I think it's a great commitment by Univision and what they're trying to do to bring over the English market. And I think it's a fantastic thing. So it didn't work. Get over it. It's not like we haven't been watching soccer in Spanish for 20 years.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I can understand. I know Spanish.
Not you, but I just mean in general.
He left it on the bottom of the screen for about a good 20 minutes of the first half and then 20 minutes of the second half before they eventually took it off.
They took off.
Yeah, but is that any worse than what Fox is doing with their whole, like, we're going to make the whole game smaller by about 60% and just put Audi commercials around the outside of it?
Well, it's just they've been doing that for all their products. They do it for NASCAR and college basketball. So I expect it from them. They also do it for Europa League and the other FIFA Club World Cup. I was expecting it. So
I saw
I'm not
that.
surprised that they kept doing it.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Robert. I saw that, but I wasn't like angry. I just was like, what? They're doing that in screen. What are they doing? Like, why are they shrinking this? I didn't understand it because it's been so long since I've seen anything like that.
But you know what? I love it because Univision and a number of other stations get a lot of stuff right. Like, there's nothing more fun for me at a very like primal caveman level than watching the CGI'd balls in the stands at halftime just bounce on the crowd that I know isn't real.
You mean like when the whole crowd turns into frozen mountains for the Coors?
Yes, I love that. And then it's like, yes, why don't we do more of that kind of stuff with the English stuff?
I am 100% with you. We're not taking full advantage of the technology here in the United States.
I care about seeing the crowd. Put an image over them. Let the game stay the right size.
Yeah, the English broadcasters aren't taking advantage of the technology. Damn it.
Yeah, by the way, better underwear model for MLS. Down Dwyer.
Okay, sure.
What player would look hotter in some undies than Dom Dwyer?
No, well, okay, maybe for
and then maybe you do a why? Hey, obviously they sell women's underwear too. You have Dom Dwyer and you have Sidney Leroux, the hottest like couple in soccer, selling both pairs of your men and ladies underwear.
Yeah,
this is why people need to hire me.
Okay, but you can't put I think the issue here is that you can't put Dom Dwyer in that USA national team jersey that he's rocking in the beginning of the commercial. So that's is
it a real U.S. jersey? I doubt MeUndies is a national team sponsor.
No, it's probably not a real jersey, but he is an American hero. I guess.
Maybe like the greatest American hero.
I'm just kidding. Obviously, it's just you're right. It's like the combination of Beasler and that commercial. Like if Ronaldo's in that commercial, you don't even bat an eye. Like Cristiano.
No. He should be selling underwear.
Yeah, he's probably like running up and grabbing things in that commercial.
But then again, I shouldn't hate on a guy. If you could get an underwear deal, get an underwear deal.
This is true. Don't hate on Matt Beasley. We shouldn't. We should be so lucky.
If I could get myself a banana hammock ad, I would be on it for the right amount of money.
There you go. All right, so we were talking about the CBA. I asked you if it was a win. You sort of qualified it with the fact that they cracked open the door on free agency. I tend to agree with you on that. There is some kickback. There is some pushback on from people who say that maybe the players should have striked. They should have gone out and really pushed this.
Should have striked or should have struck?
I think it's striked. I don't think it's struck.
Man, that's one of those things like hanged. It just doesn't feel right to me.
They dived into the pool, not dove.
Oh, that's terrible. It just doesn't feel right. It feels like nails on skin. It's like when people say, "I seen him." I know that's wrong, though.
That is wrong. That is very
very California thing. Do people say that out where you live?
That's like a Southern thing, yeah. People say
very, very California thing. Like the whole next generation below me is saying, "I seen him." No, you saw him. You may have seen him, but you saw him.
I don't think that the players would have gotten a better deal if they had gone on strike, Jared. I just don't think it would have happened. I don't think the owners would have caved because the players were sitting out. I think they would have gone they either would have stuck to the same deal or they would have pulled things back and said, you're the guys who can't afford to be missing paychecks. We're good. I got my Learjet. I don't need you.
I think I would like to have seen that number at 26-6, but the 8 years in the league thing, the 28-year-old thing is a rough one. If you're a young player in an academy system right now that believes in your potential, are you going to stick it out in MLS if you know you can't get a big contract for 12 years if you're a 16-year-old in an academy?
It's not about a big contract. It's not about a big contract because you're capped. You're limited on what you can make when you move. It's about, if you're a kid in an academy system, you either better be damn sure you want to play for that team for a long, long time, or you're going to dip out as soon as you can. Your first contract's up, you go to Europe. If you can get the work permits, or you can figure out a league that can take you. You want to play in Germany, something like that. I think that academy.
If you're Giassi Zardes, how are you stoked on this deal?
I don't know.
Third year in the league, pushing to be one of the better strikers, American strikers out there. Young guy, probably only 23 at this point. 5 years away from being able to get his own free agency. Do you stick around for 5 more years to have a say in your career, or do you go somewhere else?
Well, okay. If you stick around for the 5 more years, you're going through another contract with LA. Like you're not going, that's not one contract. You're going to have another contract with LA. So LA is going to have to up your pay. They're going to say, we're going to give you this much more. You either have a choice. You have a choice then. Do I take this or do I dip and go somewhere else outside of MLS? Because those are your options.
Lose your 8 years of eligibility. Well, not lose, but it takes a break.
Right. So you're stopping the clock on your MLS service time. Or you keep going with LA, and when you get to 28-8, you say, well, maybe I don't want to play in LA anymore. That's the only reason to do this, by the way. Maybe I don't want to play in LA anymore. I'm at 28-8. I can take an offer or I can decide to move to, I don't know, Chicago, New York, whatever. Even then, he's still capped at 15 or 10%, whatever it is. By that time, he's making over $200K. I guarantee it. So
yeah, I think if you're a player's agent, you have to get them that big deal right at the 24, 25-year-old range.
The fact remains that a Giassi Zardes at 25 years old with a contract that's run out in LA, who can't change clubs within MLS, is going to get more money playing abroad than he's going to get here.
Most likely, yes. Assuming his national team doesn't develop. We've seen national team guys get paid, but
assuming he hasn't become a superstar who deserves a DP contract. Assuming that he's getting paid better somewhere else. So I
would say for Giassi Zardes, though, that he may have more, I would say, ability or reason to stick around in MLS because he's watched a American defender get a DP contract organically at the club he's currently playing for in Omar Gonzalez.
The free agency thing has nothing to do with whether or not Giassi Zardes is going to get paid, is my point.
I think what you're kind of seeing come out of this is that the players build this as it's not about the money, it's about us having the freedom to choose. And the owners are like, cool, here's the freedom to choose, but you're not going to get the money.
They call their bluff, absolutely call their bluff. And, again, as you said, the door is open. At least the door is open. And 5 years is a good term. That's the other thing here. Instead of an 8-year CBA, this is a 5-year CBA. We'll leave this to the side. Again, we've got soccer to talk about. I'm very excited about that. Jared, I wanted to tip in here. A couple of people have pointed me in the direction of this news. The New York Cosmos are going to play in Havana. Is that cool to you?
I don't know. Is there anything really cool about Cuba? I
mean, the embargo's over, so this is the.
I know. Hey, listen, I watched Conan's episode from Cuba. Okay. Okay, cool, I guess. But does anyone in Cuba know who the Cosmos are? They don't have internet.
See it. I guarantee it. I guarantee they know who the Cosmos are.
How?
Because things trickled through back in the 70s.
They don't have internet.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know.
Are Canadians going over there and telling them about it? Canadians go there all the time.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they're smuggling in internets.
If there's a team that's going to go to Cuba, it should have been Seattle doing it and bringing Osvaldo Alonso back to Cuba for a game.
Well, they probably just kidnap him and
There is a downside to that. I haven't really thought that through, but
no, but I think Raul will be huge in Cuba. I think it'll be all. I think
they don't know who Raul is.
Oh, they sure as hell do. Are you serious? They at least
maybe they do.
Look,
maybe they do.
Maybe the government is putting like one game a week.
For God's sakes, they like baseball down there.
They do like baseball down there, but they also like soccer. They're also soccer fans. They produce some decent soccer players every 3 generations or so. They managed to do something. I don't know.
They're still driving 1950s automobiles, for God's sakes.
347-756-6276 if you want to get in the last 5 minutes of the show. And Joe, I'm gonna bring up something else completely different. You're not a House of Cards guy, right?
I am officially on episode 3 of season 1 of House of Cards. Started this week.
I can't.
Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story about this, by the way. So this week, I tell my wife, let's give this House of Cards thing a chance. Okay. So right. I watched the first episode. The next day, I'm at my mom's house. Okay, and she's like, "Oh, are you watching House of Cards?" I said, "Just started it," and she's like,
"Everything."
And she totally thought I meant I just started season 3 of House of Cards, and she goes and throws out some pretty big factual information about where the show's at. And I'm like, I meant I just started it.
Well, see, that's the thing. This is what I'm finding out. I'm down with internet TV shows, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. I'm down with winning Emmys, being fantastic. I'm down with those shows being produced by these other outside parties. And I'm even okay with dumping all the shows at once so that you can watch them whenever you want rather than having to wait week to week. But the problem is that unless you are right on top of it or you know somebody who's going to go along at the same pace as you end up with nobody to talk about it with. I got nobody.
I think I know what we need to do. There needs to be an app on your phone, okay, that will sync with everyone else's phone in the same room as you, and it constantly has an update of what you've seen and what you haven't seen and what area, what shows like you're at.
Brilliant.
So like when you enter a party, everyone syncs their phones, and then anyone you go up to, and when you get within 5 feet of them, an alert goes off on your phone saying they haven't seen this, or or they're up to date.
So a spoiler protection system is what you're telling me.
Or it's not just spoiler protection, but it's also to seek out the other person in the room that's seen the same amount of something as you have.
But then you find the one guy who's where you are. And by the way, I've finished season 3. I've seen all 3 seasons in totality. You find the one guy or the one girl who's exactly where you are, and you guys are in the corner the whole night, just the two of you.
Yeah, making out, because that's what it leads to.
Well, okay, what if it's a guy and you're not in?
Or the other alternative is we live in a social reality where everyone's just looking at their phone, their whole damn computer anyway, because they're tweeting about their favorite show. Why not find someone within proximity to you might be able to put some flesh on with, that you start by talking about a TV show.
Trevor's making fun of it. What a hellish reality we live in. And he's right. This is ridiculous. But at the same time, it will prevent me from having this conversation. You're watching House of Cards, so where are you? Trying to figure out what I can actually say without screwing it up. Like, Peter, what do you know about him right now? Like, seriously, like I'm trying to.
All I know is that I think Princess Buttercup is pretty badass and looks pretty good in it. Robin Wright.
Trevor. Oh my God. See, Trevor's blowing you up right now. Don't even look at the screen.
Wait, what are you doing, Trevor?
Oh, don't blow it up. See, you just ruined it for you. Just destroyed it. I can't believe you did that. That's so cold.
So he just basically told me someone dies in the show.
I know. You don't know who that is, do you?
I don't, but like now I'm. Oh my God, Trevor.
Anyway, that was pretty funny though, because I know what he did there. That's pretty slick. All right. So the first weekend of the MLS season, Jared, put a bow on it for me. I mean, underwhelming in terms of the quality of play. I think that's something we can all live with because we had actual soccer. Are we going to get, how long is it going to take before we ramp up and we really start to see the best of these teams?
I think you're going to look about 3 weeks out. 3 weeks out, I think you'll start to see things really come together. But I think what I've learned so far is that for the most part, the teams that I was expecting to be good coming out of the block are probably going to be, honestly, doing a real big surprise job on us. Maybe, like I said, Toronto, I think I think Toronto's going to be better this season than they were last season, obviously. But outside of that, I think the Seattles, there are Real Salt Lakes, the Portlands. Maybe we'll see something about New England tonight. I'm interested to see, but we're not going to learn anything really about New England tonight because without Jermaine Jones and without Lee Wynn there, it's really kind of a toss-up. I think all I'll say is that I spent probably 12 hours of my life watching MLS this weekend. I don't regret it, even though the games weren't that good. So if the season can only get better from here, I'm in.
Okay. I think that's where we're at. I mean, again, it's one of those things that the delivery of the season was such an abrupt sort of thing because we literally didn't know if it was going to arrive on time that I'm still adjusting myself. But I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm fired up. All right.
Let me leave the show on this. A couple more tweets about people how they got the karma to watch the weekend. Okay, one funky note says, my fiance worked from home and I ate ribs and drank beer. Probably the last games I get to watch this season. And also, where's the one here? This one from Eduardo Mendez. He says, I married the right woman. No appeasement necessary. She knew what the deal was when she said, I do.
There you go. All right. Please go to backheel.com/store. Buy a t-shirt. By the way, Jared, I saw a Bladder t-shirt out in the wild on a picture that somebody was at a Timbers game. Rocking.
You saw a what?
Sepp Bladder, CONCACAF.
That's Chuck Blazer.
Sorry, why did I say Bladder? I meant
you saw the backheel shirt on TV?
No. A fan of ours tweeted it at the backheel account or at the ring account. I can't remember which one.
Nice.
He had his people at the game. He was rocking a green Chuck Blazer, backheel.com.
And I'm sure he was the envy of his peers. So, Jason, tell someone how they can be the envy of their peers.
Go to backheel.com/store and buy one of those things. There's other ones. The Don, Lee Win, Don Juan of Saigon. What else we got over there? I don't even remember.
All sorts of them, man. Jeez, I mean, there's so many. We got Tinfoil Ted.
Tinfoil Ted, yeah. You had to mention that one. First week of MLS seems like a good time. All right, thanks a lot for listening, guys. Go to iTunes, give us a rating and a review as well. It helps us out a lot. Follow Jared, on Twitter at JRodius. Follow me, Davis JSN. Best Soccer Show, backheel.com. What else? What am I missing?
I think that's it. But I think that's it. Let's have a good week and good luck to Montreal and DC. Assuming Montreal in the next round of CONCACAF Champions League.
That's sad. Yeah, we'll talk about Champions League next week. See you guys. Bye.
Duh and/or hello.
Cheers for proper pie.
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
I am Mikkel Morsen and Paulson Discure.
Oh, it's incredible!
Damn, dog, that's in a post.
J. Rodius.